Well, good morning, and welcome to Morning Gospel Fuel with Mr. G. It is Thursday, February 3rd, the fourth week of Ordinary Time, and it is the feast day of Saint Blaise. Um, I think most Catholics might know who Saint Blaise is. He's the one with the two candles. These are not candles, but they do this with the blessings of the throat, because he's the patron saint of throat diseases. So we had that this morning during Mass here at the seminary. And Saint Blaise, he is one of the 14 holy helpers who he was an actual doctor, a physician, but he was also a bishop of the church, in which um, one of the miracles attested to him through his intercession was the healing of, I think there was like a fish bone that was lodged in the throat or somewhere in the son of the prisoner guard's throat, um, who was so the Saint Blaise was imprisoned as a bishop of the church in the 4th century, and the prisoner guard, his son, was the one that had this throat issue, and Blaise healed him of that. So anyway, that is why he has that connotation with throats. So next time you have a sore throat, maybe rely on Saint Blaise. He is also one of the 14 holy helpers. And the blessing of the throat started to come to be from about the 8th century. There's whenever that became a custom that the church started to incorporate. So that is Saint Blaise. The gospel today is from Mark chapter 6, verses 7 through 13. Let's begin in the name of the Father, Son, and Holy Spirit. Amen. He summoned the 12 and began to send them out 2 by 2, and gave them authority over unclean spirits. He instructed them to take nothing for the journey but a walking stick, no food, no sack, no money in their belts. They were, however, to wear sandals, but not a second tunic. He said to them, "Wherever you enter a house, stay there until you leave from there. Whatever place does not welcome you or listen to you, leave there and shake the dust off your feet in testimony against them." So they went off and preached repentance. They drove out many demons, and they anointed with oil many who were sick, and cured them. So we got the mission of the 12 today. And notice that they go out 2 by 2, which also shows our reliance on each other, that we can't do it alone. That's oftentimes why people get married, that companionship, where they don't want to go through life alone because they know they can't go through it alone. So that is that, but then also why oftentimes people go in twos to many places. Just common throughout our regular day. But notice that it says in the footnote here, the preparation for the mission of the 12 is seen of the first disciples to be fishers of men, then of the 12 set apart to be with Jesus, to receive authority to preach and expel demons. So like these 12 disciples they are under formation while they're with Jesus, wanting to them rely fully on God, and also rely on Jesus, God's man-made presence. And so the formation that these disciples endured in those 3 years has got to be so intense in such a deep level, on every level. And that's actually kind of what seminary formation is all about. There's 4 pillars of formation being a seminarian right now. It's human, it's spiritual, it's intellectual, and it's pastoral. All those parts of formation. And depending on what route you went and have taken over the course of your life, if you are studying to become a priest, you have either 7 years or 9 years in the Archdiocese of Cincinnati to become a priest. So it's pretty lengthy, but it's a very critical period, because once you leave that period of formation, you're on your own for the most part. It's you and God, and your relationship's supposed to be that deep. And so that is what the 12 is blessed to have the opportunity in doing while being in formation with Jesus Christ. Now, does that mean they're perfect? No. Look at Judas, because he was under that same formation for 3 years, but we still have a free will. And God grants us that. That's our gift, to be made in His image and likeness. So um, I think as we're focusing on formation, the challenge is to do some reflection and ask, how are you being formed? Like, who are you hanging out with to form you closer to Christ as a Christian? What different practices are you doing to grow in human, spiritual, pastoral, um, and human formation? I think I named all four of them. But um, it's honestly, it's probably harder for you watching the video to be formed than what it is for me, because that's my full state in life right now. So it's not as difficult to be formed because I'm constantly being under the microscope around here and being formed um, in all four of those phases. So for you, what are you doing? Maybe it's a book that you started to read instead of maybe watching a sporting event or a game show or something. Maybe it's reading a book. Maybe it's spending more time in prayer. Maybe it's choosing better friends or people to meet and hang out with. Maybe it's praying with your wife. Whatever it is, we all need to be continuously forming ourselves to Christ to get that peace that we all yearn for in our hearts. So what is it that you are working on? And how do you stay consistent in that? Because consistency is more important than intensity. So have a great day. God bless. Keep it real. In the Father, Son, and Spirit, amen.